so much for being here. This is the first video of a new kind of series I'm doing, whereby I'm going to invite loads of really interesting people on to have a little chit chat with me. Anybody that's got something valuable or just interesting, to be honest, to say to us as busy AF mums, that might just shed a bit of light or some ideas into our lives about health and well-being, looking after ourselves, self-development, all that kind of stuff. So starting off today, I'm having a little chat with a lovely lady called Laura Pearson, who combines beautifully two elements. She combines decluttering, like physically decluttering your house, and coaching, as you would say, coaching. I'm not taking the mickey, Laura, if you're watching this, it's lovely. Coaching and kind of psychology and generally just helping women absolutely up-level their whole lives, and she brings those two things together really beautifully. So I had a really fascinating chat with Laura. So if you're interested in anything to do with decluttering, but also like the wider picture of what that means, then stick around. And she also sets me and you, not just me, a little homework task to try and do. So I'm going to try and do that with all of my buddies that I chat to. I'm gonna have a little chit chat, and then they're gonna set us a little task to do, a little homework task at the end. So here's our chat. Do enjoy, and do get in touch if you do the little homework challenge. Okay. Hi Laura, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. I'll be honest with you, I've just moved this plant because I had a different one behind me and I was like, I can't leave it there because it's absolutely dying. This is the one I have before, and I was like, I've got to change my plant.
Oh, bless. Hopefully it'll come back to life.
No,
I've got one at the actually just around the corner in the dining room. And I looked at it this morning and I was like, oh my God, is that like mold on the leaf? I've never had that before.
I know, honestly. Are you a houseplant kind of person? Because I love them.
Yeah.
But this one, honestly, I don't know. I fear I might be drowning it. I think it's having too much water, but I don't know.
Yeah. I know. I'm wondering if that's what's wrong with mine. It's got like on the leaf, there's like a little bit, it looks kind of like fluffy white stuff.
Yeah.
And I've not seen that before, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of Googling, because usually I'm all right with plants. I've got them in every room. But
yeah, I'm the same. Maybe there's just always one tricky one. The problem is with this one, I did Google it, and the symptoms for it not having enough water and having too much water are like exactly the same. So I'm like, I don't know which one it is.
Nightmare.
I don't know. Anyway. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited. You're my first guest in this little series.
Yay! That's exciting.
And also, when I started this Instagram account and this project and stuff, like I started in June basically, so it's still pretty new. And you were like one of the first people that I followed and that connected with, and it's just been so lovely. So thank you for sticking with me and being
so welcome.
It's so nice, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's really nice. I think it's lovely, like some of the people that you connect with online. It's crazy, isn't it? And I think for me, I always feel like, why don't they live closer? You know, that's the only thing, isn't it? Because I feel like I would definitely go for a coffee with you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but exactly. I feel the same. Like you make all these like great connections and you think, oh, hang on.
I know, but there you go, the power of the internet.
I know it is good. So Laura, I wanted to talk to you because I'm fascinated by what you do, because I think we all love a bit of decluttering, don't we? It's got such a, well, I don't know, I'll leave it for you to tell us, but I feel as a kind of outsider to the world of decluttering that it's gained loads of popularity recently. Would you say the same with kind of what's her name that does it Spark Joy?
Oh, Marie Kondo.
Marie Kondo, yeah, and Mrs. Hinch and Stacey Solomon, all like there's loads of people on there that I feel like are really bringing it to the front of people's minds. Do you want to tell us a little bit about kind of your take on it and how you got into it and how you kind of link it, if you do at all, with your coaching? And I'm quite fascinated by kind of beyond the logistics of the decluttering, how that kind of merges into more of the wider psychological kind of well-being picture. So I'll hand over to you, otherwise I'll never shut up. But yeah, just tell us a little bit more about it, and I'll try and hide my clutter behind me.
Amazing. Yeah. So I first, got into the topic of decluttering and became interested in decluttering back when I left university. And the thing that really sparked my interest was a documentary on Netflix. So it's by the Minimalists. It's called A Documentary About the Important Things. And at that time in my life, I was looking for something. I was looking for something, is what I would say.
Yeah.
Feeling really, unhappy with my current circumstances. I was in a competitive graduate job. I had everything that I was supposed to have to make me feel happy. And I just felt like I wasn't in alignment. It felt like there was something missing.
Yeah.
And I think, the words that I use to describe it is I felt like there had to be more to this. And I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to, that feeling of, there's got to be more to life than this. Is it supposed to feel like this?
100%. Yeah, it's like a really quiet voice, like a gut instinct, isn't it? And yeah, 100%. I'm sure almost everyone will be able to relate to that.
Yeah, so that's really what sparks this initial interest in decluttering. So I watched this documentary and I just felt called to really look at my space and, consider the things that I was actually using in that space. I had so much stuff that I'd accumulated from being, early teens, and a lot of it was stuff that I wouldn't use. For example, in my wardrobe, I'd open my wardrobe, it'd be full of stuff, but then when I go to pick out an outfit, I'd be like, I have nothing to wear. So again, I think that's another, situation that we've probably all find ourselves in at one stage or another. So I started decluttering and considering whether, for each item, do I like this? Do I use this? Do I value this? Does it add value to my life? And essentially I started letting go of stuff. So it very much started with physical decluttering for me. And then after that, I started thinking, okay, I feel lighter. I feel better already. And from there, I started thinking about how I could declutter other areas of my life. And, everything from my daily routines, habits, things that we mindlessly do. I started letting go of them. So one of my bad habits was I used to bite my nails a lot. And I remember one day I was biting my nails and I was like, why are we even doing this? Like, I'm just doing this because I've always done it. So I just became really conscious about everything in life, little and big. The people that I chose to spend my time with, my relationships, my hobbies, my interests. And, through all of these experiences, I decided to become a coach and support other people to do the same. So I work with women now to help them not only declutter their spaces, their homes, their workspace, but also their minds and their lives as well. And all of this is to ultimately help people to create and live their own version of an intentional life.
Oh, that's so amazing. I love it. And isn't it interesting how one thing then sparks a whole series of other things?
Yeah.
Again, I think so many people relate to that, because you end up just going down a bit of a rabbit hole, don't you? And like you say, it triggers something else. And then whilst you're on that journey, you discover something else or someone else or a book or a podcast, and then it gets you into something else. And before you know it, you could look back after 12 months and go, my whole life has changed. I just watched a Netflix documentary about decluttering and I've transform a whole life. It's quite amazing, isn't it, how those little decisions and little triggers can kind of have a snowball effect.
Definitely, yeah. And it turns out that the thing that I was looking for was no thing, it wasn't any amount of stuff. And I think for a lot of us, we can get so caught up on, when I have this, I'll be happy. When I get this, I'll be happy. When I achieve this, I'll be happy. When I get the dream job or the dream house or X amount in my bank account, I'll be happy. And actually what it comes down to is how you feel in yourself. And, sometimes it's the simplest things, like connecting with nature, spending time with people who make you feel good, following your purpose and your passion, which might not necessarily be your job, but it's all of these things, and those kind of deeper, meaningful things. That's where you find that sense of fulfillment. That's where the joy is.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And peace. And I think that's like, when you strip away all the other stuff, I think that's kind of the heart of what I'm trying to say as well. But I think I'm coming at it from a slightly different angle with mums and motherhood, because especially with little tiny, like when we're in the newborn stage, that's the stuff that you lose, those kind of interests and passions and hobbies and stuff that you're into as a person. And then you kind of get bogged down with mum stuff. And it's so true, it's the simple things, it's the going outside for a walk and the kind of eating healthy stuff and the having coffee with a friend and those kind of simple things in life, isn't it, that kind of keep you on track and keep you feeling fulfilled. But it is easy to get lost sometime. And then it's also, I love your point about not adding stuff but taking stuff away, because we definitely fall into that habit. I do as well. I'll add things to my life, or I'll add things to my wardrobe, or I'll add things to my kitchen cupboards, or whatever it is, as opposed to stripping away. That's quite an interesting shift to make, isn't it? How do people take to that when you start working with them, like flipping 180 from the adding things to the stripping things back kind of mentality shift?
Yeah, and I think it's so important to say that sometimes it can be confusing, it can be strange, it can be quite emotional, and that's why it's so important, I think, to actually just highlight that you can get help with this. You don't need to go through it alone. And a lot of people, when they work through those kinds of emotions and feelings, and they make the decision, okay, I'm ready to do this, I'm ready to change my life, because essentially that's what you're doing, they feel so much lighter. And I think that's probably one of the things that really stands out to me, the feedback when I've had a session with people and they've started letting go of stuff. They're surprised at how much lighter they feel and how much freer they feel. And, there's so many benefits to actually decluttering on a physical level, but also, mentally and in terms of your lifestyle. And not only are you, creating a more effective space, creating a space that supports your lifestyle, but there's so many different benefits in terms of how you feel. So people generally feel more productive, more efficient, more focused, more able to relax and feel calm. Because I don't know about you, Sarah, if I'm, over the week things are built up, because I'm not perfect either. I might leave, mail on the side in the hallway. And every time I walk past that mail, I'm thinking, I need to sort that. I need to open that letter. So I think, just actioning things as they arise rather than letting things build up can really help you just to maintain your space and stay on top of it. But yeah, I think that feeling of feeling lighter and feeling calmer is probably what stands out the most for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's so significant, isn't it? And I must admit, I mean, I try and do little and often, but I tend to go through waves, and I feel like I'm gradually getting more cluttered at the moment. But I did I'll link it, because I started this YouTube channel and there's a few random things on here which I was going to just hide, but I might keep this one up here. But I set myself a challenge. It was maybe, I can't remember when it was, back in the midsummer. And I decided, God knows why, but I was going to get rid of 1,000 things. from my
Ooh, I
house.
love
And I was
that.
like, that's a big number. Let's see how we go. Spoiler alert, I didn't quite do it, but I got rid of a lot of stuff. And the main difference I think it made is I've got a tiny weeny little office upstairs. And it was just a bit of a dumping ground, and I just chucked everything in there. And then after this challenge, I had like a nice decluttered like office space, and I was like, this is great. And I started using the office actually for an office and to work in, and it just separated work life and home life a little bit, because like a lot of people at the moment, I'm working from home. So it was quite a clear kind of mental shift to be like, oh, okay, now I'm going into the office.
Yeah, and you know, it's so important. I love that. And our space has such an impact on us. We don't necessarily realize it, but you know, things like having a separate space to work can really help you to get into that mindset, you know, to get into that frame of mind of, okay, now I'm working, and at the end of the day, when I close my laptop, I'm reclaiming my space. I'm going to leave work here and I'm going to go and be with my family, you know. And I think that's so important to have those boundaries, and our space can be so important in terms of creating those kinds of boundaries.
Yeah, it's really, you kind of don't realize, I think, when you start, the kind of knock-on effects that it's going to have. So that was really good. Now,
Yeah.
I have to ask you, do you have some kind of practical tips for me? Because I try and keep decluttered, but I live with a toddler. So we have a lot of toys, we have a lot of clothes. There's like a constant pile of clothes in her bedroom because she grows out stuff so quickly. I'm like, add it to the grown out pile, and then at some point I'll give it to the charity shop or eBay it or whatever. So there's kind of lots of clothes, lots of toys, and it can be quite hard to keep on top of it and not let it build up. Also, I feel like, so I live in a house, and I feel like my house is all right, but it's like, you know, when you kind of shove everything under your bed, or you shove everything in the cupboard. So like my house is all right, but I've shoved it all into the loft and the garage. So it's like just shoved out of the way. So like the house is fine, but actually I don't know how much I've decluttered because I've just like moved it to the garage basically.
Yeah.
So have you got any tips for me and for other kind of, I guess, working mums or busy mums that maybe time is an issue, or maybe like toddlers with a lot of stuff is an issue? Have you got any kind of practical tips or things that I can go away with? Because what I'd like to do is go away and try and complete a task that you give me, or do a little bit of homework, and I'll film me doing a bit of a sort out and I'll add it on to the end of the video. So
Yeah, love that.
help me please.
Okay, well, for starters, I've seen it all, so you don't need to worry about having all of that stuff up there and down there, because I've seen all of that countless times. But you know, in terms of simple tips, so I think let's start with some simple tips, and then we can set some kind of homeworky tasks, if that sounds good.
Brilliant.
So, you know, I feel like what you said, you know, having little ones, one of the main things that busy mums struggle with is that daily maintenance side of things, and maintaining a space that feels good to them, because little ones come with lots of stuff, don't they? And, you know, they might take out toys and then your whole room might be full of them. And so I think, you know, one thing that has been really effective with a lot of ladies that I've worked with who have children is, you know, if you want to have, for example, your living room with minimal toys in it, bringing in and introducing a kind of favorites box. And this can be, you know, whatever kind of box you might have a box around the house. You might want to go with your little ones and pick a new box that they like.
Yeah.
And have that in the living room, for example, and, you know, have a chat with them and say, you can have as many toys in this space as you want to, as long as they fit in this box before we go to bed. And try and make it a bit of a challenge, try and make it fun. And, you know, you might want to perhaps like introduce some kind of competition with themselves. And if they manage to do it every day throughout the week, that you do something fun and go to the park on a Saturday or whatever. But almost like teaching them the importance of keeping their stuff organized. And at the end of the day, before we go to bed, our toys from the living room live in this box.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, that can be something that all of us can learn from as well, this idea of having a place for our things to live. And, you know, this idea of when we bring stuff into our home, does it have somewhere to live? And you can keep this in mind when we're shopping as well. So, you know, all of us have probably experienced a time when we've gone shopping, we see something, we think, oh, I really want to buy that. It's not on your list. You probably don't need it, and you're probably umming and ahhing about whether you should get it, but you buy it anyway because it feels good or whatever. And then you come home and you're feeling overwhelmed about where you can actually put this thing. So keeping this question in mind of where will it live can really help you to make more conscious decisions when you're bringing stuff into your home. But anyway, going back to little tips that you can do, actioning things as they arise, I think can be really powerful. And whilst it's not always easy, or, you know, it might be something that we put off, I think for simple things that you can action, for example, I don't know, you might walk past your sideboard and there might be something on there like an ornament or a photograph, or, you know, something that you don't particularly like, but it's been there forever. So it's, you know, that's just where it is. And,
It's funny,
you know,
isn't it, how that happens, because you get, when you see stuff every day, you become blind to it, don't you? And I've got this funny little ornament. It's like a warthog kind of thing, and it's just there, and I've never really thought about it. And then I had someone round and they were like, what's the pig thing? And I was like, what? And you're like, oh yeah, that is actually really weird, isn't it? But you don't notice because it's just there.
Exactly. And, you know, you won't believe how many women have, you know, when we've been working together and I'm in the space, so we're having a virtual session and I say, okay, show me around your space. So they're showing me around and they're going, actually, I don't know why I even have that. Like, I'm getting rid of it now. So I think, you know, just as you notice things, as things arise, actioning them can be really, really powerful and also make you feel a lot lighter. So yeah, perhaps, you know, one of the things that you might want to do, one of the homeworky things could be just to have a look around your space and see if there's anything there that's, you know, you've accumulated over the years, or whether you've just had it forever. And if there's anything that is there that isn't serving a purpose or isn't bringing you joy, or it isn't something that you use, and perhaps, you know, letting go of that. It's a simple thing, but it can actually be very freeing, and it can also help you to get comfortable with this idea of letting go, because not everyone is comfortable with this. You know, like we talked about earlier, Sarah, we're so used to bringing things in and adding things, but letting go of stuff is quite a new concept for a lot of people. So yeah, have a look around, see if there's something in your space that is kind of unconsciously there, something that's been there for a while.
Yeah,
and
okay.
let it go. I think that would be a nice little thing
I
to
love that,
start.
Laura. I'm going to try and look around with fresh eyes and challenge myself to notice things. And I can definitely do that. I'm already thinking there's books that I've got lying around that I've not read, and I will at some point, but I've just left them like almost ornamentally stacked up. So I can definitely do that. I love that. I'm going to film that so you can see that I'm completing my challenge. Is there anything else you want to share about your work and what you do, and also where people can find you before we wrap up?
Wonderful, yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Laura Pearson Coaching. I'm also on Facebook. You can find me again at Laura Pearson Coaching. My website, you can read lots of information about how you can work with me. It's laurapearsoncoaching.com. And I do have a free masterclass coming up on Wednesday, the 6th of October. And this is called Turn Your Space into Your Sanctuary. So it's a great place to start if you want to learn more about decluttering and organising your space. But yeah, in terms of ways that you can work with me, I offer virtual and in-person decluttering sessions. So if you want to transform your home, I can help you to do that. And I also have a one-to-one coaching program. It's called Intentional, and it's all about helping women to get super clear about what they want, to help them achieve it, and to create and live their own version of an intentional life. And I offer this over 6 weeks and 12 weeks.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. Honestly, I find it fascinating. And I think so often people kind of don't see the whole picture behind the decluttering thing, and they see it just as the kind of practical, like tidying up thing. But I just love that there's so much more to it. And obviously you see the benefits of that with the people you work with, which must be absolutely lovely for you when you see these women like transform. It must be great.
It's super fulfilling. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm going to go and find some things to get rid of.
Yay! Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. See you in your masterclass.
Yeah, see you there.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi. Okay, so it's been a few days since I spoke to Laura, and I keep looking around like, oh, I need to do my little decluttering challenge. So it's really challenging to like look at your house through fresh eyes. So anyway, look, this is the weird little guy I was talking about. So random. It's terracotta, and I got him in the Moroccan mountains. Oh, on a holiday with my ex. Saw something on Facebook or Instagram the other day, and it was like words to the effect of like the unspoken thing about being a parent is you just find that you've got rocks in your house. There's like living room rocks and kitchen rocks, and I was like, oh my god, that is so true. It's so funny because kids just like pick up rocks from outside when they've been on a walk and like, I'm going to take this home and look after it anyway. And my daughter's brought that in, and it's been sat on the windowsill as an ornament for like several months. So I'm going to chuck that back outside. I did quite a big declutter a few weeks ago, maybe like 3 or 4 months ago. So I'll link that video somehow here, or I'll leave it in the notes or something. So if you're interested in looking at my big declutter where I got rid of 1,000 things, or attempted to get rid of 1,000 things, then I'll link that. But yes, thank you so much to Laura for that chat, and it's really got me thinking. And it was a few days ago, and I've been thinking about it a lot since, and about how there's more to it. You know, there's more to the mindset and the psychological thing about beginning to sort your life out. And actually it's interesting, like subconsciously I kind of started this mission to like sort my life out basically, and without really thinking about it, the first few things I did was about my house. I decluttered, also redecorated my house. So at the beginning of this year, at the beginning of 2021, the first thing I did was redecorated my house. So it's interesting, isn't it? I wonder whether like psychologically there's something about changing your environment and that kind of changing your psychology. Anyway, I'll leave you to it. I'm not going to walk you around my declutter, but thank you so much to Laura. Let me know in the comments, or like send her a little DM, or send me a little DM on Instagram if you've watched this and if it resonated with you. And of course, please hop over and follow her if you're not already, and get in touch if you want to work with her. So yeah, have a great rest of your week. Let's all try and declutter something, and I'll see you soon.